Hey everybody, and welcome to Greenlight Car Reviews. If you're new to this channel, my name is Giancarlo, and today we're going to be filming a 2011 Ferrari 458 Italia. Now, if you like videos like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel down below and make sure to click that bell icon so you get notified every time we drop a new video. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, it helps us a lot. Now, let's get into it. So today we have a special guest with us. His name is Robert Macri from RMDM, and this is actually his vehicle, and we're going to be talking with him about this car, seeing how it is to live with it every day, what experiences he has, what are the pros and the cons of this vehicle, and his general appreciation of the car. All right guys, so we're now in the Ferrari and we're going to go take this baby for a drive. That startup is crazy. Beautiful. Very, very loud. And by the way, I have to say I love these red seat belts. I'm guessing this is an option, right? Yeah. Or it comes as standard?
Yeah, everything's an option.
Everything's an option, huh? The red stitching too?
Red stitching, the carbon fiber, the sound system.
And what were you telling me about the steering wheel? So who designed the steering wheel?
So this car was designed, the ergonomics of the interior was designed by Michael Schumacher.
Okay.
So Michael Schumacher decided to put everything on the steering wheel. So you have the flashers on the steering wheel. You have the suspension button, your high beams, engine start. You have the Manettino, so you can decide.
What are the different modes?
So you got wet mode, which is basically comfort.
Mm-hmm.
You have sport, which makes the suspension a little stiffer and the exhaust a little louder.
Yeah.
Race
is your loudest setting.
Is your loudest setting, exactly, and it's the stiffest. But you can still keep it to race and put a suspension button to bring down the
Let's say you're on a bumpy road, you want it on race, but you make the suspension more comfortable. And then if you want to take anything off, it's two other ones, right?
Exactly. This takes off
the traction control, I'm guessing, and the other one is the stability control.
This is completely off, exactly. And you have the gear changes on the rack, not on the steering wheel.
Exactly, they're mounted on, yeah.
Exactly. I think it's a Ferrari, Lamborghini do that.
Yeah, and it's nice. I really like the interior of this car, and I find that for the year, honestly, the 488 is the same interior. We did a review on a 488. It is the same interior. They didn't change anything at all.
Well, even the new F8 Tributo has a very similar interior.
Very similar interior, which I don't understand why they don't, you know, put more technology or in the car, or why they don't upgrade the infotainment. You know, maybe put a digital dash. I don't get why they don't do that. It's been probably close to 10 years they have the same interior and the same infotainment in the car.
This car came out in 2009.
2009, so it's been over 10 years.
It's been over 10 years.
Over 10 years, and they haven't changed anything. You get the same map as you did in this one. You get the same Bluetooth connectivity. So I don't know. I feel like they should change that.
It's time for them to change.
It's time for them to change. You know, not with the Roma. It's a bit more high tech.
Exactly.
I believe, which it sounds great. How is it in the corners?
It's handles very well.
But this is a rear wheel drive car, right?
Exactly.
So it slips sometimes?
It slips, but again, the traction control in the car is very good because it's there, but you don't feel it's there. So it's just enough for you not to lose control.
Okay.
But you can have fun. So you can feel it. But the traction was still there.
So what's the 0 to 60 in this?
It's 3.3 seconds.
3.3 seconds. And you actually took it on a drag strip, right?
I did the quarter mile with it on a drag strip, and I did it in 10.3 seconds, and I could have probably gone under the 10 seconds.
Because your launch control didn't work, right?
Exactly.
Because the car wasn't warmed up, so the launch program didn't activate.
Exactly.
So you could have done even better than that. You could have done under 10 seconds.
I would have been under 10 seconds. Keep in mind that it's a drag strip, so they put glue.
Yeah, it's more sticky. It's a sticky surface. But that's still incredible. That's very, very, very fast.
It was faster than most cars that were there.
Yeah,
which were,
I'm sure.
Which were drag cars.
No, this car is honest. I believe it is a perfect car.
It is.
And I think that Ferrari's been having troubles trying to beat this car since it came out. I don't think they've been able to make really a much better car.
Well,
because
in terms of technical, they are better.
yes, in terms of, but I don't feel like it doesn't feel the same way as this does, and it doesn't, bring the same emotion. And we were talking a lot about emotion when it comes to this car, because Ferraris are different when it comes to that. We were with some kids before, and we let them, have a seat in the car and went for a drive with them. And just a smile on their face, you know that it was such a moment that they're going to remember forever. And everybody that sees you on the road, they're happy to see a Ferrari.
Exactly.
And that's something that I think is important, because if you look at McLaren or other vehicles of the sort, they have a hard time creating that emotion towards their vehicles. They have fast cars, and Ferrari, the new cars they're putting out are very fast, but I feel like they don't have as much as a story, and they don't make you feel as good as driving this car. And I don't know, I think maybe their new cars that are coming out are just maybe too perfect, too sophisticated, too electronically capable, and there's so many gadgets in the car that you don't even feel like you're driving the car anymore.
I agree.
Like sliding like that, like when you're taking off, and that doesn't really happen anymore in the new Ferraris, because it's so controlled and they want to make it so safe and easy to drive that you don't get that little fear when you're driving it that you get in this. And I miss that, in the new cars, and that's why these cars are so special. And this is,
I think before, when you used to buy a Ferrari, it used to be a special car that you would drive on the weekends.
Exactly.
And now they're so capable that they're kind of everyday cars, and they need to sell.
And they need to make them. They need to make them more comfortable. They need to make them more safe, easier to drive, because people are going to want to drive them every day. As in, this was really a car for the weekends. Once in a while, you're going to go crazy, and then you're going to put it in a garage, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's really shifted in what the car has to be. And I guess it's good in some ways for some customers. It sells more cars, I'm sure. But for real,
at the end, it's all about selling cars. It's a public company. They need to sell
the most amount of cars possible. Exactly. And back in the days, it wasn't necessarily like that, which I find is why the cars were so special back then, because they really made cars that they wanted to make instead of making a car just to sell it.
And you didn't have that many companies that make exotic cars.
No, back in the days, there wasn't that many.
So you had, when I was a kid, I had the Lamborghini Countach, I had the Ferrari Testarossa, and then I had the Porsche 911. Those were my posters.
And so basically, you got a Porsche.
I got a 911, exactly.
You got a Ferrari.
Exactly.
So now you're missing a Lamborghini.
I'm missing the Lamborghini.
Is that gonna happen in the near future?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of Lamborghinis, just because they're not. I find they're not as exclusive as they used to be.
And not as classy, I'm guessing also.
Not as classy.
There is a difference.
I used to be a big fan of the Aventador, but now they've been overdoing it with the SVJ model.
I understand, yeah. You really need to like those models and how outgoing they are and how flashy they are. You either like it or you don't.
Exactly.
But this is a car I would keep forever. The 458 is an amazing car. It's comfortable, handles well. The speed is more than enough. The sound is much better than all the new cars that have come out. And you have enough space in the front to fit me inside.
I think you actually fit in there.
You think I fit?
I think you have the green light.
The green light?
The green light trunk.
Okay, if you want. Okay, let's try it. If I fit in this, I'll be very impressed. Let's try it out. Try it. Oh! Not bad! What do you think about this car? So what's the story behind it? Did you buy this firsthand? Did you spec it? Or did you, what is it?
Well, first of all, it was my dream to always have a Ferrari. So
Okay.
When I had the opportunity of getting one, I was thinking of buying a new one. I was looking into maybe a pre-owned ones.
Mm-hmm.
And when I bought this, it was the 488 GTB. And
That was the newest car at the time.
that was the newest car at the time. So I had the choice between that one and this one. And I think this car has a lot of special to it, which is going to keep the value. It's going to be remembered throughout history.
This is a car that keeps its value very well.
Exactly.
Even better than the 488 actually.
Exactly.
And you see it in the design that it's you were saying about the design. Isn't this the last car that Pininfarina designed?
It's one of the last.
One of the last
It's
ones.
the last mid-engine
Okay.
designed by Pininfarina. You have the F8, not the F8, the F12 that was
Yeah,
also designed
exactly.
by Pininfarina. But all the generation after that.
And you see it in the flow of the car. You were telling me, you were explaining
Exactly.
to me. Yeah.
Just if you look at the lines, I find that it flows very well compared to the 48s.
It does, it does. And you have a lot of aerodynamics in this car, so you were talking about
Exactly.
that. So what were you telling me about the front?
So for example, these fins are flexible.
Yeah.
And as you gain speed, the air pushes it down, so you have
More G-force.
more downforce.
So these go down.
Exactly, and the air is going to flow through here. It's going to come out here to add some downforce.
Over the wheels, yeah.
And you can actually see the air flowing
All the way to the
all
back.
the way to the back. So the air here is to cool down the engine. And this, instead of having a wing that's outside, the wing is kind of hidden. So you have downforce. It creates a kind of wing where you have downforce.
That's very nice.
And when you look at the design of the car, you can see that you have lines that go from the back to the front, which adds
In the bottom as well,
exactly, adds like movement. So you have the line here that flows.
It's very artistic.
Again, it goes to the end.
And I'm guessing this is probably a car that's very good with the girls.
They love it.
They love it, huh?
They love
Living with it, the girls, I'm sure they must love this. All right, so what do you know about this engine? So how many horsepower is, what's the horsepower of this and the torque? Do you know that?
So this engine puts out approximately 562 horsepower and 398 feet of torque.
Okay.
So
it's incredibly powerful, especially for the years, right?
it's very powerful, and for the years, what's very special about this engine is that it puts out 80% of the torque at 3,000 RPM.
Wow.
Which is, for a naturally aspirated engine, is very
It's
good
very impressive.
for back in the days. For
Yeah, it
2011.
still is impressive.
Still is impressive. It's a 4.5 liter 8-cylinder. That's why it's called the 458 Italia.
And it sits pretty high in the car. Compared to
new
newer
ones,
cars,
yes.
the engine seems to be lower in the newer cars.
Exactly.
But it's a beautiful engine, and it sounds really, really good. Because you get a naturally aspirated engine, you know, it sounds much better than all the new cars that are coming out with the turbos.
And it's a 9,000 RPM.
It revs. So the exhaust in this car is crazy, and it's extremely loud. And there was something cool about this. So what is this? What does this refer to?
So basically the last Ferrari that had a triple exhaust in the middle of the car was the Ferrari F40.
Okay.
It's one of the most iconic Ferraris.
So this is kind of a throwback to that car, piece of history from that car, and that's really cool. And it sounds incredible. We have some videos of that we're going to show you in a bit. And what makes it so loud, it's that naturally aspirated V8 compared to all the new cars that have the turbos, which kind of muffles that sound. This is incredibly loud. So Robert, tell me, what about the space in the front of the car? Can you fit anything in there, or is it terrible? Like, can you go grocery shopping?
It's actually pretty big. I do my groceries there. When I moved, I used it to move.
You use this to move?
Yeah, when I moved.
You have like...
I packed this car, I packed the other car.
So you have 5 jeans and 2 t-shirts and that's it?
Pretty much.
Okay. You have all the history behind it. You know, Schumacher that built the interior and that built this first steering wheel that is now in all the production vehicles that they make. You have the 3 exhausts from the F40.
Exactly.
So this is an amazing car. So are you happy with it?
I'm extremely happy. I wouldn't there's not one car that really excites me right now that I'd say, you know what, I really want that car. Like when I look at all the new Ferraris, except the special editions, unless you go in a Pista. But then if you buy a Pista, you're probably not going to drive it every day. So for an everyday car, I think this is still, you know, a very good choice.
The best option right now.
It's a very good choice.
One of the best options right now. So, as a conclusion, if you had one thing, if people are wondering if they should get a 458, if people are wondering if they should buy this car after you've lived with it for 2 years, what would you tell those people?
The 458 versus the 488, I would say I would definitely go for the 458, just because of the way it makes you feel, the sound, that extra speed that you get in the 488. You don't necessarily need it in everyday life. You're not really going to see the difference.
It's not worth it.
I could throw around this car, floor it, and I feel comfortable with it. I think if you go with the Tributo or you go with the 488, you might not feel as comfortable with it. Again, I'm not a professional driver.
Yeah.
But for somebody like me, I think this is ideal. Financially, I think it makes more sense. It will probably depreciate less than a 488 or an F8. And look-wise, I think it's one of the...
It is one of the nicest Ferraris ever made.
It is.
All right, so I want to thank you, Robert, for allowing us to film this video today, for being here with us. And thank you to everybody that's watching this video. None of this would be possible without any of you. So thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you soon.